crosswalks, intersections, and blind pedestrians, right-of-way for pedestrians. At all costs, collisions between moving cars and pedestrians must be prevented. Collisions are usually very one-sided, with the pedestrian almost always suffering more damage. Understanding right-of-way laws is essential for pedestrian safety. Drivers must go around pedestrians very carefully since their cars are potentially lethal weapons. The NHTSA reported that there were at least 5,977 pedestrian fatalities due to automobile incidents in 2017. Because they are unaware of the danger they are in, pedestrians frequently act foolishly or recklessly near roads. Being a pedestrian does not require passing a permit test or a driving test, and many do not know the rules regarding right-of-way or traffic signals, which increases the need for cautious driving on the part of drivers. Even if you feel you have the legal right-of-way, you must always yield to pedestrians on the road. Crosswalks have the right-of-way. Nearly every crossroads where two roads connect at a roughly 90-degree angle has a pedestrian crosswalk. In some locations, such as in front of hospitals and other emergency care facilities, they can also be seen mid-block. In crosswalks, even if the crosswalk is not explicitly marked with pavement lines, pedestrians always have the right-of-way. Be cautious when approaching crosswalks for pedestrians and keep an eye out for anyone trying to cross the street. Right-of-way for pedestrians at crossings. Come to a complete stop at the limit line or before the crosswalk if you are approaching a junction and you observe a pedestrian waiting to utilize the crossing. You can then make eye contact with the pedestrian to let them know you are ceding the right-of-way and have spotted them. By pointing or honking your horn, do not try to push a pedestrian across the street while they may be waiting for traffic to clear in both directions. Pedestrians must yield to vehicles when on the crosswalk they are already. They are waiting to cross, but there aren't any traffic lights to make it easier. They are already on or about to enter a section of the road that you want to use for travel. Illegal crossing and jaywalking. The act of crossing the street without a crosswalk is known as jaywalking. Jaywalking is not advised because it may compel drivers to make an unexpected stop because they won't be expecting it. Unfortunately, individuals who are in haste, preoccupied, or trying to escape severe weather are more likely to jaywalk. Even though it's against the law to jaywalk, you must stop for a pedestrian if they cross the roadway in front of your car. Watch out for other cars as well as pedestrians crossing the street. As soon as the pedestrian is once again safely on the sidewalk, stop your automobile and do not move further. Regardless of the situation, drivers who fail to yield to a pedestrian in the road may be subject to harsh fines. A pedestrian who is struck by a vehicle may sustain property damage, but they are more likely to sustain fatal or serious injuries. Pedestrians crossing the street. On some roads without sidewalks, it is legal for pedestrians to cross over to the far left side of the road. Given that they are facing oncoming traffic and are thus more visible to drivers, this is the most secure option for pedestrians to share the road with vehicles. Reduce your pace when you get closer to any pedestrians who are crossing the street. Till you have safely passed the pedestrian, drive slowly and at a low pace. Children playing beside a road. Children who play on or near the side of the road are almost always in grave danger. Younger children frequently lack the maturity to make wise decisions and do not think through the repercussions of their actions. They may be utterly unaware of nearby vehicles utilizing the road since they do not understand traffic regulations. Children pose a significant risk to drivers because they are unpredictable and harder to see than adults. If you notice kids close to the road, slow down. You are in charge of making sure a child stays safe if they suddenly run into the street. Residential areas and school districts. In comparison to any other driving environment, school zones and residential areas have significantly higher rates of children being close to the roadside. The majority of states set lower speed restrictions near school zones. These are typically at least 15 miles per hour slower than the local average speed limit. Elderly people walking. Always keep in mind the surroundings in which you are driving and whether there are likely to be frightened pedestrians trying to cross the street. You are more likely to run across elderly or disabled pedestrians near hospitals and care facilities. Due to their confusion, inability to move fast, or hesitation to cross the roadway, such people should be avoided at all costs by drivers. When elderly or disabled people are utilizing the sidewalk or crossing the road, stay out of their way by not honking your horn, revving your engine, or making unexpected motions. They might be startled and put in danger by these distracting behaviors. Blind pedestrians have the right of way. When using a sidewalk or a crosswalk, blind or partially sighted people are especially at risk because they cannot see oncoming traffic or drivers making eye contact. To cross the road safely, they frequently rely significantly on service animals and the sounds they can hear. A walker who with a white cane or a guide dog is probably blind, visually handicapped, or otherwise disabled. The same right-of-way regulations apply to blind pedestrians as they do to all other pedestrians. However, as they are more vulnerable to damage, you should keep these additional guidelines in mind when a blind person wants to cross the street. 1. Those who are blind frequently use noises as a guide. When you stop at a junction, they might be listening for the sound of your engine to tell them exactly where the crosswalk is. Make careful you stop at the limit line or prior to the first crosswalk line, as appropriate. 2. Avoid honking your horn or directing blind pedestrians verbally because doing so could startle and perplex them. On crosswalks, all pedestrians have the right of way and are free to choose their own crossing time. 3. If a blind person steps away from a pedestrian crosswalk while removing their cane, this typically indicates that they do not desire to cross and you may continue. In these situations, don't wait too long but proceed cautiously in case you misread their action. Drivers should be alert for blind and partially sighted pedestrians around bus stops, intersections, commercial areas, and blind schools. Whenever you are backing up, make sure to look behind your car for any blind pedestrians.